So the thing about Stancy for me is, while I think that yes, it would be a super character growth backslide for it to be Steve's endgame, I do think it makes sense for him to still be processing feelings about her, and grasping onto that last stable dream he had before the upside down, like, does make sense. So raising it as something for him to engage in and then move on from is at least interesting. My real problem with Stancy is for Nancy, because I think it does such a disservice to her character to make it a central part of her storyline and like character development, when I think there is something much more prominent affecting her psyche, sense of self, relationships, etc., sitting literally right next to it. Fundamentally, I think that her crisis of season 4 should have been so much more explicitly about Barb, because throughout the entire show, all of her most emotionally bare moments come back to Barb. The most prominent examples we get of people being able to hear each other through the upside down are Joyce and her sons, Steve and Dustin, and Nancy and Barb. And then all of season 2, Nancy's anniversary effect is her refixation on Barb's death and feeling like everything that isn't fully focused on that is bullshit. And then even in season 4, the short moment where she does get traditionally Vecna'd is taking her immediately to the moment of Barb's death. There's so much to unpack about how the timing of Barb's death directly impacted Nancy's sense of self and relationship with her own desire, and how in turn that manifests in her self-sabotage of romantic connections through guilt and bitterness. And that is genuinely fascinating. But I think that her ability to maintain romantic connections is a walk in the park compared to her ability to even entertain the idea of platonic connections. Because of that, I think it would have been so much more interesting if her hostility towards Robin was about her discomfort with girls her age trying to bond with her post-Barb, rather than some kind of weird animosity over Steve potentially dating someone. I think it would have been interesting if the library conversation was Robin trying to connect with Nancy, but Nancy pushing back, just being like, sorry, I don't have time to make friends right now. We're busy, we're focusing on this. Then I think it would have made so much more sense for Robin to jump in after Steve first. And then in the woods later, Nancy could bring it up and be like, wow, you guys are really serious about each other. And at that point, Robin could be like, no, dude, we're friends. Even if she was like, don't tell Steve I said this, I think it would have been so much more true to Robin's character if her silver lining was the weird friendships you make along the way in these end of the world scenarios. I think being in such close proximity to that platonic love would have confronted Nancy with her unresolved feelings of guilt and grief over Barb more explicitly, and also explained why Vecna targeted her specifically. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that with the season's focus on guilt and processing old trauma, allowing Nancy to engage with this character-defining moment in her life would be much more interesting than a love triangle we've already seen.